as we begin to focus in on Shabbat, we call on Lydia Bauman to light Shabbat candles. Shamor, to guard, Zachor, to remember. Shabbat Gadal v'yitgadash shmei Rabba. Roma divra chidutei v'yamlech malchutei. V'chayechon v'yamechon v'chayei l'chol Beit Yisrael. Ba'agala, ba'agala, uvizman kariv, v'meru. Yeheshmi Rabba mevarach, she'olam elol me'omaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach yitba'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shmei dikudeshah. Leila min kol gilchata v'yishirata tushbichata v'nechemata ta'amiran ve'alma v'meru. Blessed, praised, et Adonai. Baruch Adonai. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech ha'olam, asher bidbaro ma'ariv harabim, b'chochma poteach she'arim, u'vitvuna mishane itim, u'machalif et hazmanim, u'msader et ha'kochavim, b'mishmeroteihem barakia kirtzono, borei yom v'layla, golel or mipnei choshech, v'choshech mipnei or, Ma'avir yom umevi laila, mavdil bein yom uvein laila, Adonai tzvaot shemo, El chai v'kayam תמיד ימלוך עלינו לעולם ועד. Baruch atah Adonai, Hama'ariv Arabim. Blessed are you, Adonai, the Ever of evening. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. ואהבת למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם, אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות בכם לאלוהים, אני אדוני אלוהיכם. Standing. rise for the Amidah, the standing prayer. We call on Beth Glassberg and Gail Koss. Na 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 na. Na 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 Shabbat Yiftach. Na 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 Ufi Yagid Tehilatecha. Na 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 that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu ve'Elohei Avoteinu ve'Imoteinu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel ve'Elohei Leah. Chasadim tovim b'konei hakol, v'zocher chastei avot v'imahot, u'mevi geula livnei v'neihem, v'ma'an shemo be'ahava, melech ozer u'moshiach u'magen, Baruch atah Adonai, magen Avraham be'ezrat Sarah, atah gibur le'olam Adonai, Mechaye hakol ata Rav lehoshia. Matzmiach Yeshua, v'ne'eman atah l'hachayot hakol, Baruch atah Adonai mechayei hakol. Atah kadosh, v'shimcha kadosh, u'kdoshim b'chol yom halelucha selah. Baruch atah Adonai Ha'el HaKadosh. You are holy, your name is holy, and those who are holy praise you every day. Blessed are you, Adonai, the holy God. We continue in silence. offer wishes to those in need of speedy recovery, be it physical, spiritual, or emotional, those members of our Temple family, on all the Allwood, Fern Barishman, Anthony Bartolomeo, Elizabeth Cooper, Lori Cooper, Len Epstein, Doris Handel, Nora Klein, Carol Siegel, Lorette Schrag, Chuck Waldron, and these family and friends: Joanne Allen, Alexandra Barney, Pauline Burton, Dorit Chomer, Amy Connolly, Ruth Fabregas, Michaela Margulies, Ashley McGregor, Kathy Novak, Susan Sitarsky, June Shadman, Harper Sheldon, Jacqueline Schrag, George Bansko, Larissa Vignola, Ruth Weintraub, Chris Ann Weiss, Yitzhak Ben Beryl, and Beverly Ziv. If there are other names to be shared, please feel free to rise and share them. And all those under the thumb of the oppressor. Misheverach avotenu mikor habracha limotenu. May the source of strength who bless the ones before us help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say So I thought we'd spend a couple of minutes doing something in getting ready, creating readiness. Tuesday night is the original game show of humanity. Tuesday night, we read the Megillah. We read the story of Mordechai and Achashverosh, God bless you, and Esther, and what's his name? The name that shall not be pronounced. And we go on from there. I thought it would be fun because I once was invited to a dinner with 4 couples, and they asked me if I would have an adult conversation about the book of Esther. So I did. By the time I had finished explaining what the story was really about, 3 of the couples had left. Not just the table, they left the apartment. They were highly incensed and offended by the fact that there are levels to stories, and stories that are a great deal of fun when you are 9 or 10 really have different meanings. And so when we read the story Tuesday night, and I hope you will all be here prepared to take advantage of the night of eternal silliness, to dress up, to come as your favorite character. It is one of the holidays that inherently does not object to cross-dressing, which is a message I would like to share with the Brotherhood. But I thought it would make sense to take just a minute or 2 or 3 and talk about some of the characterizations, and then candidly see what you think, because we don't really ever talk about it. We just don't. So, here we go off into Judaica Mythbusters. First, it is in spite of Google or anybody's mood, a myth. In hundreds of years of study, there is no viable proof that the story of the book of Esther is true. On the other hand, it is one of those stories that, irregardless of whether it's true or not, says something quite deep to the Jewish people. And truth is what you see, and you see what you seek. And if you want to see this as a true story, there are some issues. First of all, the king isn't all that bright. That part's probably closer to fact. They're not always all that bright. But let's take a quick run through the characters so that when you come to the reading on Tuesday night, you'll have an idea. Let's start with the only person in the entire story who has the ethical barometer of a toaster. And who is that? Yeah, think about that for a minute. There's only one character in the entire book of Esther who has any ethical bearing at all. Okay, fine. Don't all call it out at once. I'll help. Vashti. Vashti refuses to dance bareback naked for the friends of the king. She stands up to the king. He banishes her. He could have killed her just as easily. He doesn't. She's the only one who stands up to the king and has an ethical moral barometer and says, not for nothing, Duke, but I'm the king, his wife. You the king, I'm the queen. I'm not doing it. Think about that. We know that when Esther is asked to walk in unannounced and unasked for by the king, she goes, "Ooh, but if I do that and he doesn't give me the gold scepter, his rule is everybody dies." Vashti couldn't care less. She's not going to humiliate herself because he has a whim. It's fascinating. We don't really think about that. But he doesn't kill her. He just says, "Get out of my face and never come back. Give up the crown, you're out." It's a woman of strength. Yiddish should be called an Eshet Chayil, a woman of valor. Now, see, the benefit of having studied at Hebrew Union College is you study with people who were extraordinary in who they were, how they think, what they teach. I was there in the early 70s. One of my teachers was somebody that we all chuckled about, and he was away a lot for those couple of years. And we didn't pay much attention to where Harry Orlinsky was. Harry Orlinsky was all over the world as one of the small group of people in this planet translating the Dead Sea Scrolls. So when Harry Orlinsky spoke, we listened. When he was teaching us at Hebrew Union College, we didn't know, because he never told us, that he was translating with several others the Dead Sea Scrolls. These are people of enormous thinking. And he says, "Who's Mordechai?" He's a guy sitting by the gate of the king's mansion, and what's he doing? He's just sitting. Doesn't appear to have a job. Doesn't appear to have a profession. He's just sitting in front of the king's gate. And the two guards are looking, going, couldn't he beg for shekels someplace else? So what's he doing? They never tell us. They don't really tell you what Mordechai is doing. But he hears two guards, talking about killing the king. He tells somebody else, and he's now a big shot. And the king gives a big yawn and doesn't do anything for him. That comes back later. Doing good stuff in this particular story does not always benefit in the early going. It's interesting. But the king has a predicament. He needs another queen. So he decides to have a contest. Think about the contest. He sends out the notice throughout the kingdom that every young, unmarried woman in the kingdom is to report to Hagar. And Haggai, who is Haggai? Haggai is the one in charge of the harem. And every day, according to rabbinic legend, the king introduces himself to another single woman. In the kingdom, he spends the night with every different woman. That's the story that the rabbis will tell you. So now you've got every unmarried man sitting looking at the palace going, he has shystered every single available woman in the kingdom, and they're all living at his house. It's an interesting thought. So the women have to be not happy, and the men have to be really quite annoyed. It's not a good way to lead a country. Think about that one. The kicker for me is always Mordechai goes to Esther and says, you got to do something for your people. Okay, well, it's unclear at that point who the people are, but he says to her, you have to not only go into the beauty pageant, because that's what you got to do, but you have to win. What do you win if you win? You win the right to live with a man you don't know, don't love, manipulate him with your beauty until such time as your people are being attacked by some odious being, and then you can go to the king and say, you want another night? Hear me out. First, I've lied to you. I didn't tell you I'm Jewish. And how did I get here being so excited about marrying somebody I didn't even know? And keeping him happy so that she had power and authority in the story. It's all pretty interesting stuff. Now, Haman is clearly the underachiever. He's a sniveling snake, underachiever, who is only dependable to his word, that if he says he's going to kill all the Jews, he kind of means it. Of course, he didn't even come up with the idea. His wife did. I'm going to go to the king and tell him to kill all the Jews. Okay. Well, we know how that comes about. And we know that as the apex predator, anti-Semite, he's going to kill all of the Jews in the kingdom. Now, we think we know how that works out. We're not quite on our game. So here's the conundrum. There are 10 chapters in the story. I have never publicly, in the 54 years that I do this, read from or chanted chapters 9 or 10. Why? Somebody once said, oh, well, don't you get drunk on Purim and you're too drunk to do 9 and 10? I said, well, I don't drink, but no. I don't read it because back at the beginning I said, this is a self-created myth. We wrote it to make ourselves feel good. And how do we feel good in chapters 9 and 10? Yeah, the king says, let's hang Haman and his whole family on the gallows he built for Mordecai. Oh boy, we're happy. But we are not fulfilled. Because chapters 9 and 10, and I don't remember the exact number, I have it in my copy, go ahead on a rampage through the country, and if you were a family member of Haman, down you went. If you were a friend of Haman or anybody in Haman's family, down you went. If you lived in the town where he was raised and grew up, bam, dead. By the time we are done, we have killed, according to the numbers in chapters 9 and 10, just a hair short of 76,000 people. Boy, we did real good having some freedom. And then you've got the corker. Now by then, remember those 3 couples were already trying to figure out how to get out of the game. They didn't like where this story was going, being as it was a self-created myth to make us feel better, feel good about ourselves. We defeated the enemy. But the one thing we didn't think about is that in the middle of the story, Mordecai sits with his niece and says, it is okay to lie for and sleep around for God. Tells Esther, you better go win. And whatever it takes to win, you must do. Now, it doesn't say that part in the actual Megillah, but start to think about it. And if you look at all the ancillary writings, the king picks one girl a night. I mean, first of all, I'd like whatever he was taking. But he's created a country that's uncomfortable and unhappy, like we said, men and women, everybody. But Mordecai says to his niece, go win it, hon. You're a hottie. Go win it so you can use whatever capabilities you have proven to the king that he should listen to you. And if all of your people that you didn't want to tell him about die, so will you. And you better hope that he's really focused on you. Because look what happened to the last one. And by presumption, the ones before it. So why do we have such fun with this story? Because we can. Because Mordecai and Esther did what it took to win very quickly. What a crazy myth. We don't behave like that, except we do. Except we do. Jump forward to the early 20th century, down in Hester Street, and in the Lower East Side. The most densely populated 2 square miles on planet Earth. Why? Because the Jews came across from Europe and they all settled in the Lower East Side. Sometimes 2 families, sometimes 10, 12 people in one little apartment with 1 bedroom and no jobs. So what did they do? What they needed to do to survive. I'm not sure they thought about it, but they mimicked Esther. And I've said this before. Between about 1895, 4, something like that, and 1918, over 75% of the arrests for prostitution in the lower Manhattan courts of New York were of Jewish women. We did what we needed to do to get out of where we were. And once that happened, you didn't hear from these people for as much as a parking ticket, with several notable exceptions. So when you say that never happened, that couldn't happen, I mean, it was 2,000 years later. We were slow starters. But stay focused. At some point, the Jews will do what they have to do to survive, period. And for me, now, there's my story. There's my story. I don't have to point at who's the good guy, who's the bad guy. I have to point at the broader vision that as a Jew I have a responsibility. And I will do what I must do to save the Jews. Esther is to be honored for that. So is Mordecai. But if this is all myth, what does that tell us if they are all damaged people? And the fascinating thing is, what it tells us is that we're forward thinking. We can think looking forward, because Mordecai said to Esther, you got to be there just in case. And part of the story says, don't you think God put you there, parenthetically, in the way that God did, so you could be there in case? Think about that. Mordecai is thinking to the future, and he says, well, but what if? What if something like that happens? And at that point, nothing had happened. But it might. Jump to about 1946, the end of the war. When we say, God bless, when we say, never again, never again, well, when they started splitting countries in Europe, we didn't do much. All around the world, there are conflicts. There are conflicts in Europe. Where are the Jews to say, no, 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 not anymore, never again? In Europe, when they split countries in half without even a vote, we didn't say much. So when we say never again, the truth was we really meant never again for us. It's time that we as Jews started to stand up and support others in the way others supported us. And there's your story. There's the story of Purim. Is to rejoice in our freedom and enjoy it, and then say, who can we share that with? What other peoples need our help? Who needs to come from someplace else to start again? Who of us is ready to up and go to someplace else to be safe, to start all over again? Our generation, we're the children and the grandchildren of people of enormous strength of will. Many of our grandparents didn't speak English and never learned. Their children translated for them from whatever language they spoke with the Yiddish into English. And they stayed grouped in the Lower East Side, those that did, because they could talk to each other because all they spoke was Yiddish or whatever language from whatever country they came from. So, look around. There are other people going through the exact same experience. We seem to forget that we came to America and we were given nothing. Zero. And we were excluded because we didn't speak English. And we were excluded because we were doctors over there and came over here and all we could do is push a fruit cart. And I have had multiple people over the years ask, how did your uncles get into gangsterism and the mob? I just told you. They couldn't work. They couldn't make any money. So they started by pushing push carts. And they would start a little bit of trouble over there so that while you were looking over there, they could steal 10 or 15 apples from you and put it on their cart and then resell it. And then they'd push through the communities as they spread out. And they would sell all the fruits and vegetables, all the things. And tonight's not the night for the whole thing, but they then found out that by selling fruits and vegetables off a cart as they walked around South Orange, New Jersey, that the housewives wanting to make money to be more settled, were buying lottery tickets. So they all started, or a number of them started lotteries, and they were selling their own tickets. They were running numbers rackets off of fruit carts. And that's where the Jewish mob starts. They were also in the late 1800s, strange as it may seem, muscle. They would go during elections. They would beat people up, and they would solve issues and solve problems. And then they would beat up the Jews that were the muscle, because they would take, say, me, full beard and a mustache, and after I went and voted, they'd grab me, drag me around the corner, shave off my chin so that I had mutton chops, and put me back in and let me vote time number 2. They then took the mutton chops and cut them way up to here, so it just looked like that and a mustache. That was number 3. They then cut off all of this so that all that was left was a mustache. They then dragged what was left of me around the corner, shaved off the mustache, and got 5 votes out of individuals. The story is that one of my uncles beat up a guy because in counting up the votes, they realized one of the Jews had only voted 3 times. So they beat up the guy who was supposed to beat him up and said, "What happened to the other 2 times?" So, the story is mythological. It is supposed to teach us something. It is supposed to teach us that we do have a responsibility to help others. We have a responsibility to at least stay out of their way. But if we look not at what we want to see, but what realities are, we would see that there are people going through the same thing that we went through. But we don't go through that quite anymore. So it's not our problem. But it should be our issue, not our problem. It pains my heart that we are very good at remembering and rewriting all the parts of our history that we want to hear and feel great about. And we don't want to really talk about the truth of it. We are tethered to the truth, whether we want to believe it or not. 70+% of all hate crimes reported to the FBI in the last year are anti-Semitic. I appreciate Mordechai, I appreciate Esther, and while I'm not sure about his ethical barometer, I do honor her for doing what she had to do to help move us forward. We all dressed, well, not all, the girls all dressed like Esther as kids. Take who she was. Take the risk to help somebody else. All that people want is the same opportunities that we created for ourselves. But show up Tuesday night in the goofiest costume you can, because it's the night that we get to just dress up and be ridiculous and tell stories and carry on. It's one of the benefits of freedom. What time's the Megillah being read? 6? Good. Come at 6. Dress so everybody can take a quick look at you and have a chuckle. It feels good to let go sometimes. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. I'm Linda Chazen, Sisterhood President. On Tuesday, March 3rd at 6 p.m., we will celebrate Hanukkah. I don't think so.
I had
It's
a
supposed to
little
be
trade-off.
Purim. As we have done in the past, let's all bring in food relative to the holiday. There are recipes in the social hall for you to pick up to make. Reminder, if you bought tickets for the ball game, it's this coming Wednesday, March 4th. On March 13th, we will have a potluck dinner for Shabbat across America. Please call the office to let us know what you will bring so we don't all bring the same thing. Sisterhood Card Party Luncheon is March 17th. Tickets are on sale in the office, and if you haven't gotten your group together, please do so. We need you here. It's going to be a wonderful afternoon with mahjong, games, cards, pizza, and a wonderful salad bar. So please come buy your tickets. Our Passover Seder is on April 1st. The deadline to make and pay for your reservation is March 26th. Stay tuned for information on the next book club discussion. The name of the book is The Florida Shuffle. If you want a name on the Mishaberach list, it needs to be requested in the office by Wednesday mornings, and if it's not necessary for a name to remain on the list, please let us know that too. We're still collecting jars of peanut butter. Thank you to everyone that has already contributed. It is an ongoing program, so Temple Beth El Israel will continue to be involved. See the flyers in the lobby to find out what's going on here at TBEI. Read your shofar. Read your Friday morning bulletin. Tickets are available for all of our upcoming events. If you aren't getting our messages online, let Faith know, and she will be glad to add your name to the email list. Shabbat Shalom.
One very quick moment. The book, Florida Shuffle, was written by the doctor who did my spinal fusion, who's now retired, and Dave Ehrenberg, the former district attorney of Palm Beach County, who you can see on TV quite a bit. And the story of the Florida Shuffle is the story of of medication, and how the pill factories are shuffling the laws and shuffling the people of Florida, particularly those who are of an older generation who need more medication, and how they are not only gaming the system but creating their own system, and they're making bazillions, and yet we are all complaining about how much medication costs, but nothing is being done. So if you want to learn about what's commonly known as the Florida Shuffle, you might get a hold of the book. I've been trying to get either of them, of the writers, to come. Not quite sure that's going to happen. Maybe Zoom, but don't depend on it. But the book in and of itself will teach you quite a great deal about how the pharmaceutical companies are playing us and winning bigly. Having said that, we move to the Aleinu, and we call on Sherry Frank and Nadine Wenzel. I'm sorry? I got all the time in the world. Oh, and if you want to see a beautiful rendition of the story of Esther, out on the counter is a thing from Ballet Palm Beach, who is presenting a number of shows next weekend at the Kravis Center, the Rinker Playhouse, the smaller of the two theaters at the Kravis Center in Palm Beach. It is entitled Queen Esther, and I am quite taken and touched that when I asked if they would give me 2 tickets, they said, no, but you can narrate it. So I will be, next weekend, narrating Queen Esther at the Rinker Playhouse in the Kravis Center in Palm Beach. It is something quite beautiful if you can sit through a ballet. Oh, thank you. I'm so excited they worked. I don't want to change anything. 3, 4. Yes. Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon ha'kol, l'teit gedula liotzer bereshit, shelo asanu kigoyei ha'aratzot, v'lo samanu kemishpachot ha'adama, shelo sam chelkeinu kahem, v'gor aleinu kechol hamonam, v'anachnu korim, u'mishtachavim u'modim, lifnei melech malchei amlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Shehu Notesh Shemayim V'Yosed Aretz, U'Moshav Yekaro B'Shemayim Mima'al, U'Shchinatu Zo, U'Shchinatu Zo, B'Garvei Miromim. Yadata yom b'hashivota elivavecha. V'ne'emar v'haya Adonai l'melech al kol ha'aretz. Shemo u'shemo u'shemo echad. U'shemo echad. On that day, Adonai will be one, and God's name will be one. We remain standing as we remember. Mention those yard sites observed during this weekend. Celia Barishman, Anna Baslow, Henrietta Bergman, William Berman, Meyer Deutsch, Leonard Dinger, Haskell Feen, Esther Fingerly, Anna Feivel, Yale Friedman, Charles Goldwater, Mayor Charles Heller, Lucille Hertz, Harold Holtzberg, Benedict Kahan, Joseph Kampf, Helen Kleinberger, Motel Lax, Renee Laser, Louis Lesser, Fanny Limke, David Nidowitz, Evelyn Oppenheimer, Betty Passy Davis, Ida Plotkin, Florence Rice, David Rossman, William Schwartz, Norma Seidel, Max Seidelman, Alfred Simon, Albert Skolnick, Dorothy Skolnick, Joseph Sosnick, Anna Stein, Sarah Stern, Harry Weinshank, Charles Weiss, and Florence Weiss. Remember again all those taken by the hand of the oppressor. Yitgadal v'yitkadash me Rabba, ve'olma divrach chirutei v'yamlich malchutei, v'chaye echon v'yom echon, uv'chaye dechol beit Yisrael, v'agalat v'zman karib v'meru. Yehei shmei Rabba mebarach, le'olam ulol mei alamaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach, v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitalev v'yitalal, shmei dikut shah. Ve'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, da'amiran ba'olma v'imru, Yehei shlomo rabba min shemaya, v'chaim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru, oseh shalom v'imromav, huya aseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru, amen. May the one who creates harmony on high bring peace to us and to all Israel, to which we say, Amen. Oseh shalom b'imromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imru, ve'imru. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu, v'shabbat kodsho be'ahava u'v'ratzon hinchilanu, zikaron l'maaseh v'reishit, ki hu yom techila Lamikra Kodesh, Zecher Litziat Mitzrayim, Kivanu Vacharta, Ve'otanu Kidashta, Mikol Ha'amim, Ve'shabbat Kodshecha, Ve'ava Uvratzon, Hinchaltanu, Baruch atah Adonai, Mikadesh HaShabbat. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Shabbat Shalom. And if you go inside, please remember that you have recited the blessings and you have a requirement to fulfill the action. So get something to drink and a piece of bread.